my dear students, how are you? Welcome back to this class. I hope you all are good. So today let me start SST chapter number 13, the making of regional cultures. So the all chapter covered with our culture, संस्कृति जो क्षेत्रीय संस्कृति होती है सबकी अलग अलग, इसके बारे में हम जानेंगे यार. तो लर्निंग आउटकम्स क्या हैं इसके? The growth of regional cultures, regional painting, music, dance, growth of regional languages. India has a variety of regional culture that have developed over the long period of history. So, disintegration of the Turco-Afghan Empire in the 15th century caused the rise of several independent states in different parts of India. Again, the disintegration of the Mughal rule in the 18th century was followed by the rise of new kingdoms in Maharashtra. So, Punjab, Rajputana, Awadh, Bengal, Hyderabad, etc. Assam in the northeast was being ruled by the Ahoms. So, under the new kingdoms in the independent states, regional cultures developed different. The growth of several regional languages was a striking feature of the medieval period. During the 8th and 18th century, the Bhakti movement encouraged many regional languages such as Hindi, Marathi, Tamil and Bengali. Okay, Sanskrit and Persian continued to be the languages of the upper classes and in the poor. Now we will talk about Sanskrit. Since ancient times, Sanskrit was the main medium of both writing and higher learning in our country. During the first half of the medieval period, Sanskrit was patronized by kings in central and south India. The Bhakti son Ramanuj, Madhvacharya and Shankaracharya wrote in Sanskrit. Okay, a large number of Dharmashastra or digestives on Hindu law and customs were written in Sanskrit. Most Sanskrit works were produced under the patronage of Hindu or Rajput rulers. Some Jain scholars like Hemchandra Suri also preferred to write in Sanskrit. So, surprisingly, little attempt was made to translate either Arabic or Persian literature into Sanskrit. So, one of the few instances was the translation of Yusuf and Zulekha's. So, however, Sanskrit literature, especially the epics, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, as well as the Puranas, were frequently translated into regional languages. So, Kalhan's Raj Tarangini, written in the 12th century, was a string of biographies of the king of Kashmir and was the first royal chronicle in Sanskrit. The family historic of the Rajput rulers such as Prithviraj Vijay and Hamidama Kavya were written under their patronage. Semi-historical texts known as Prabandhas were also composed during this period. So, considered as one of the finest works of the Sanskrit language, Jayadev's Gita Govinda was composed in the 12th century CE and describes the relationship between Lord Krishna and Radha. It comprises 12 chapters, each of which is divided into 24 subdivisions or prabandhas. Persian. Amir Khusro wrote many poems in Persian which are sung by the Qawwals even today. The historian Barani, who lived in Delhi during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq at 1285 to 1357, wrote the Tariq-e-Firoz Shahi. Abul Fazl wrote the Ain-e-Akbari and the Akbarnama, the biography of Akbar. Okay, during the Mughal period, especially during the time of Akbar, many Sanskrit works were translated into Persian. Abul Fazl and his brother Faizi jointly translated the Mahabharata. Badoni translated the Ramayana and Shah Muhammad Shahabad translated the Raj Tarangini. Jahangir adopted Persian, Turki and Hindi. He wrote the Tuzuk-e Jahangiri in Persian. Abdul Hamid Lahori wrote the Padshahnama. Aurangzeb did not encourage literary works. The Ahkam-e Alamgiri written by Hamiduddin Khan Bahadur Mirza Ghalib in the 19th century and wrote outstanding poetry in Persian and Urdu. The growth of regional language. Sanskrit and Persian are tough languages to the common people. A group of large people could not understand these languages. So, vernacular literature developed with the spread of the Bhakti movement in the 12th century. Okay, so the Bhaktis are taught and composed poems in the local language. Hindi. The Hindi language originated between the 7th and 10th centuries. It developed from Sanskrit and the Apabhar Musha. A Pabharsha of medieval period. During this period, two forms of Hindi were used, Brijbhasha and Awadhi. Between the 8th and 10th century, several pieces of secular, non-religious literature were written by the court poets of the Rajputs kings in Hindi. Chandrabardai, the court poet of Prithviraj, wrote the Prithviraj Rasu, narrating the life and achievements of the king. Abdul Rahim was the poet of Akbar's court. He wrote poetry that was in the form of dohas or couplets. Tulsidas, one of the Bhakti poets who lived during the reign of Akbar, translated the Ramayana into Hindi. So it was called the Ramcharitmanas. Surdas, the Bhakti poet from Agra, wrote poems in Brijbhasha in praise of Krishna. So Mirabai, the great Krishna Bhakt, composed her songs in Hindi. Malik Muhammad Jaisi wrote the Padmavat, a poem describing the story of Queen Padmini of Chittor in the Awadhi dialect of Hindi. Now Urdu. The fusion of Persian and Hindi languages resulted in the development of Urdu. So it began from the military camps of Alauddin Khilji. Urdu soon became the most common language used in the towns and cities of North India. So Khusro and later Ghalib wrote rich and beautiful poetry in Urdu. Other regional languages that developed between the 8th and the 15th centuries had included Tamil, Bengali, Marathi, Gujarati, Telugu, Kannada and Punjabi. Marathi. Literature emerged in the latter half of the 13th century. A major contribution was made by the same poets Eknath and Tukaram. Ramadas and Vamana Pandit also contributed to Marathi prose and poetry. The growth of languages in South India, a group of the three poets Nana, Tikkana and Yera Pragada between 11th and 14th century translated the Mahabharata into Telugu. In the medieval period, Gujarati poetry was used mainly to express religious feelings. The 7th century, Eddie Jain Monk, Shalib Bhadrasuri composed the Bharteshwara, Bahubali Rasa, Narsim Mehta wrote Bhakti song in the 15th century and that portrayed his deep love for Krishna. One of the best known Gujarati poets is Premanand Bhatt. So he wrote poems based on Quranic tales. So Masood Fariduddin, 13th century, a mystic poet, was the pioneer of a new school of poetry and Punjabi. A major contribution to Punjabi poetry towards the end of the 15th century was made by Guru Nanak. So Guru Arjan compiled the Adi Granth in at 1604 and also wrote Sukhmani, one of the longest and greatest of medieval mystic poems. So the contribution of Guru Gobind Singh is also invaluable. Punjabi prose made immense progress and a number of religious and philosophical work got translated from Sanskrit to Punjabi between c. 1600 and 1800. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced to devotional songs that were composed in Bengali. Kritibas Ojha was a medieval writer who translated the Ramayana into Bengali. Nasir Shah, a king of Goda in the 14th century, is praised by the poet Vidyapati as a patron of vernacular literature. Regnal paintings. India has been rich in paintings since prehistoric age. Palaces and temples were decorated with murals. The kings and other rich people patronized the painters. The beautiful and colored paintings at Ajanta and Ellora were created between at 1600, 600 and 1000. So the paintings and sculptures are devoted to Buddhism, Hinduism and Jainism. During the period of the Delhi Sultans, the art of painting declined. So the period of the Mughals saw the revival of the best in painting, and it marked an important stage in the growth of this art. Akbar brought Persian and Indian artists together, and a new style of painting was born, the Indo-Persian school of painting. Miniature paintings were also used to illustrate manuscripts and books examples, of which can be seen in the Babarnama, the Akbarnama and the Tutinama. Abdul Hasan and Ustad Mansoor were two eminent painters in the reign of Jahangir. During the reign of Shah Jahan, the art of painting reached its zenith. Artists of his time were influenced not only by the Hindu style but the European style as well. Portrait paintings became lifelike and graceful during his time, unlike the stiff ones of the earlier times. Aurangzeb believed in the 10 tenets of the Quran and discouraged painters in his court. So they migrated to the various regional kingdoms where they established different schools of paintings. Kangra, Rajasthani and Deccani art of painting due in the medieval period. So the main theme of the paintings of the Kangra and the Rajasthani schools was devotional. Several paintings illustrate stories about Radha and Krishna the gopis. The Deccan painting focused more on courts and scenes of battle. है ना, दरबार के सीन होते थे और जो बैटल ग्राउंड होता था उसके युद्ध के. Portraits were also done by all the schools. The artists used natural colors derived from minerals, plants, stones, shells, gold and silver to create the miniatures. It sometimes took weeks to prepare some of the colors. In the south, the temples were storehouse of paintings. The inner walls of the prakara and the mandapas and the ceiling was profusely adorned with painting of scenes from the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Bhagavatam, etc. in the Brideshwara temple in Tanjore. All around the inner walls of the Garbhagriha, various karnas, dance poses of Bharatanatyam have been painted in vivid colors that have not faded even after 1000 years. Music. Now we will talk about the music. India has an ancient tradition of music. Folk music flourished along with classical music. The Turk brought with them their own form of music and instruments like the sarangi and the rabab. Amir Khusro, the most famous musician of the Delhi Sultanate period, fused Hindustani music with Persian and Turkish music to create new styles like the Qawwali and the Khayal. Akbar was a great patron of music. Tansen, one of the Navratna of Akbar's court, is considered one of the greatest composers and musicians in Hindustani classical music. So he invented several new ragas like Darbari, Malhar, Deepak Mand and Todi. So it is said that Tansen could bring rain with his rag Malhar. है ना, जब उसका राग मल्हार चलता था तो क्या जाती थी बारिश. And start fires with the singing of the rag Deepak. जब वो राग दीपक गाता था तो आग जल जाती थी. Ragas were passed down from guru to shishya and details were lost in the process. Several schools of music or gharanas developed in the different regions. In Gwalior, Swami Haridas, Tansen's guru, was part of Raja Man Singh Thomas court. He specialized in the Drupad style of singing. So distinct styles of music also developed in Lucknow, Banaras and Patiala. The Bhakti and Sufi son introduced another form of devotional music called the Kirtan. Surdas, Chaitanya and Mirabai poured out their devotion to God. through their kirtans, dance. In the south, the Carnatic school of music flourished during the rule of the Vijayanagar Empire. Unlike Hindustani music, it was relatively unaffected by Persian influences. This growth was led by Vyasaraja, Purandara Dasa and Kanak Dasa. So Purandara Dasa was also known as the Sangeet Pitama of Carnatic music. He laid out the basic rules for teaching Carnatic. Many of the classical dance involved during the medieval period in India. Several forms of classical dance developed. Many folk dances also developed during this period. They developed in different regions and became a part of the culture of these regions. For example, Bihu is a harvest dance of Assam and Tippani is a folk dance of Gujarat. Under the Mughal emperors and their nobles, Kathak was performed in the courts. Kathak acquired its present features in the Mughal court. It also developed into a form of dance with a distinctive style. Kathak. Kathak is a popular classical dance of North India which depicts a story. Kathak got its name from Katha, यानी कि story. कथक होता था उसमें पूरी एक स्टोरी डिस्क्राइब होती थी. कथक एक्चुअली originated from the devotional recitation of the storytellers or the kathakars. The kathakars were none other than the storytellers in temples of North India, whose performances were beautified with expressive gestures and song. Kathak took the form of a distinct mode of dance in the 15th and 16th century. With the spread of the Bhakti movement, the legend of Radha Krishna were performed beautifully in the form of skits called Ras Leela, which combined folk dance with the basic gestures of the Kathak storytellers. Kathak developed into two traditions or gharanas: the court of Rajasthan, Jaipur, the court of Lucknow under the patronage of Wazir Ali Shah, Nawab of. Okay, understand everyone? So the all topics are covered in this chapter. I hope you will be you all are very well understand it. So we will meet you the next class.